Whoa! Happy New Year! What's up, everybody? Happy New Year. Uh, Hopefully everybody spent it well. Hopefully you guys had either good drinks. If you don't drink, hopefully you got to get some good food. I stayed in and I did my usual, which was eat food, watch Andy and Anderson, and that was pretty much it. And I did get to spend it with somebody this year, which was the first time in a very long time, but I'm not going to talk about that. Anyways, Happy New Year's, everybody. I hope that you guys had a great one. Mal and I are going to be actually recording an episode here in the next few days where we're going to talk about the new year and our goals, our resolutions. And I just want to say for myself personally, I don't start New Year's on January 1st anymore. Yes, I do the countdown and everything like that, but when it comes to my resolutions and my goals and what I want to have figured out, I don't have all that by December 31st. For me, what I do now at least is that my intention is to take the entire month of January, figure out what I want to do for the next 11 months. What are my goals? What does my life look like? What do I want to do? I want to plan, I want to declutter, I want to make space, and I want to figure my life out. So that is what I am planning to do, and I'm excited for it. I'm super stoked to have like a whole month of planning versus like trying to get everything done by December 31st. And then, if you don't start on routines right away, then you feel like shit. And yeah, that's not me. I want to slowly build up to things and not overwhelm myself with everything starting January 1st or January 2nd. It's just not realistic. So, anywho, let's get into my favorite segment here, and that is what made me cry this week. Boo! We let out all the boo-hoos. Actually, I'd have had a lot. I cry every week. I cry every day. I cry every few hours. It's crazy because I will have a few hours where I feel really good and I'm cooking and I'm listening to music and I'm having a great time. And then a couple hours later, I'm crying over something that just kind of set me off. It's so bizarre living. And I just feel like we just live in a time period right now where we have so much access to everything. And that kind of will go into what we're talking about today. But anyways, what made me cry this week? And it was actually last night. I was watching a movie called Here. If you haven't seen it already, it's got Tom Hanks. What's her name? Robin Wright. Robin Wright played Jenny in Forrest Gump. Obviously, Tom Hanks played Forrest. And Here is a really good movie. It basically is a movie that takes place in one room in a house. And it's a beautiful movie. It follows along a lot of stories, a lot of families, etc. And I don't want to give anything away, but there is a quote in the movie that just really just tore me up. And if you haven't seen the movie, this isn't a spoiler. But if you don't want to know any quotes from the movie, then skip over the next like minute and a half or something. But the quote was somebody apologizing to somebody else, and he says, "All I did was worry about every damn thing. In some insane way, I must have believed that worrying would keep painful things from happening. Isn't that ridiculous?" And that line hit me so hard that I instantly started like just crying, dude. Like the boohoo's were streaming from my face. And because I am like that and I've been like that. And it's something that I think I do. And I did talk to, I think, Mallory about this a few months ago when, there's a part of me that thinks if I have already had anxiety about it, if it's already hurt me, then it's not going to hurt me worse when it actually happens, And I know people have the whole mentality of, well, if you don't worry about it, then it can only hurt you once. Well, for me, I already did the hurt part. I already got through that. When it actually does happen, if and when it does happen, it's not going to hurt as bad. And it's not the best way to think about that. And it's something that I'm trying to rewire, I promise. However, that line did hit me, I think, even harder now because recently I have kind of had more of a disdain for social media than I ever have. And it kind of made me realize that a lot of my worrying now and a lot of my anxiety stems from social media, and it's all digital, right? So just when it comes to social media, you're watching, you're comparing yourselves to other people, you're constantly checking it, you're scrolling, you're refreshing, you're doom scrolling. And that leads into what I want to talk about today, which is social media. in general. Social media as in Instagram, TikTok. I don't really do Facebook. I don't really do Twitter. I actually deleted my Twitter a while back, and then I just made another one just to hold my name. But it's mainly Instagram and TikTok. I guess Facebook has a play into it as well. But and I'm saying this as somebody that I say that I hate social media. However, I use it every single day. I use it to mainly stay connected with my friends. I talk to Mallory on Instagram every single day. And the reason that we do that is because via text message, she has an iPhone, I have an Android. I know, whatever. But a lot of my friends have iPhones. So usually for me, I like voicing people. And I've noticed that the voice function on, Android to Android is okay, but Android to iPhone and vice versa is not so great. So Mal and I, when we talk, we often have 2 to 5 minute thoughts. So that warrants voicing. So that's why we use that. And that's why I used to talk to her on my main account, which was my Segi account. And I remember shifting over to my private one because I was like, I don't want to be on Instagram as much anymore. Like I'm trying to get away from it. And there's a whole reason behind that, and I will get into that in a few minutes. But I mainly use it to talk to Mal. I stay connected with friends and family. I'm starting to get back into cosplay, so I check in on community events and things that are going on. I use we did start using Instagram for our business, our quote unquote business, our little adventures that we're doing, the podcast and our Moonlight and Stardust Etsy shop. I use TikTok a lot for inspiration on home projects, tutorials on how to do things, on recipes. I've used a lot of TikTok recipes and, obviously there's the doom scrolling and everything, which I'm not crazy about. And at the end of the day, there is some sort of validation that comes from posting on social media, right? We wouldn't be posting on social media if we were not seeking some form of validation. And I think that anybody who argues against that is lying. I think you're a big fat liar. I don't think that you are putting photos of yourself or your house or, whatever you're doing at the time just for shits and giggles. Otherwise, you would just be taking those photos and hanging them on your wall or, putting them on a slideshow. But you're posting them on social media for other people to see, for other people to like. So there's a form of validation there that you are looking for. And I think the thing with me is that if social media were to disappear tomorrow, I would miss, I think the biggest thing that I would miss is like the videos on TikTok. Like the TikTok video, some of the TikTok videos that I've come across have made me just absolutely just cackle with laughter. And then you get to the comments and they're even funnier. And then you're just wheezing. There was, I can't even remember which one I saw today. But there was one that I saw earlier and the comments were just frying me. Like I was rolling. It was so funny. And I'm like, this is why I can't get rid of this app because there's a lot of really terrible things on this app. I'm trying to fix my algorithm right now where it's more positive things versus, more negative things. And it's a work in progress, but man, some videos are really funny. The tutorials on there, again, going back to the recipes, tutorials for the house, building things, like getting ideas for things, information that you're getting from your peers versus, getting from news outlets that may not be telling you the whole truth, ideas, just being connected with your friends in general. All of that I obviously would miss should social media randomly disappear tomorrow. However, I do think that I would feel relieved. I think that there would be some sort of relief in not having access to everything and everybody all the time, not seeing people's success. And I don't want that to sound like I don't want people to succeed or I don't care about your success. No, I do. But I do think that there is something in seeing other people's success kind of constantly, because that's what you're posting on social media, right? You're posting your wins and like the cool things that are happening, the great things that are happening. And when you yourself are having a bad day and you see, I know a lot of people over the holidays are, maybe they're going through something, they're grieving, they're dealing with, feeling alone or lost or whatever else. And then you see everybody celebrating their wins, they're getting engaged, they're having a baby and things like that are really hard you're not rooting for other people to fail and you're not wishing ill against them, but it is hard to see those kinds of things when you're going through your own thing. So maybe social media isn't what you should be on, but at the same time, you're going on social media as a way to pass time, right? So, I think not having access to that stuff and comparing myself to other people's journeys and their stuff and what they're going through would be relieving. It would feel like a relief. I think that there is something in me that feels like I have to prove like I'm doing something. Like even I've gone quiet before on social media, and then when I come back, as I have over the last few months, I've started to come back to social media. I am realizing that like it does give me a lot of anxiety, and like I constantly feel like, oh well, these people are doing this, and like, well, I feel like I have to post something because I'm doing cool stuff too. You guys just aren't seeing it, right? So that goes back to the validation thing, but and social media connects us. It totally does. Social media is something that connects us with people that we otherwise may not have ever met with. I know that one of my best friends, Oz, she lives in San Diego. I would have never met her if it hadn't been for Twitch. And I like thank God, like, or I think the universe, I think whatever entity is out there that I went through the things that I went to because I got to meet her, and I wouldn't have met her had it not been for social media. So instances like that, obviously, I think it's great. But I also think that social media almost like poisons how we see ourselves and how we see each other. Sorry, each other. It poisons how we see ourselves, how we see each other, how we see love, how we think things are supposed to work and function and whatever else. And it might connect us to the people that are not near us, right? Where it might connect me with, Mallory instantly, who lives, 10 minutes down the road. It might connect me with my friend Oz, who lives thousands, 1,000 miles away or whatever. But it also disconnects us from the people that we're sitting next to. I mean, like how often, and I've seen this, I went out to Chili's like a couple weeks ago, and I would see couples on their phones. And like, how often are you guys going to like a cafe or a restaurant, and you're seeing both people or all parties at the table on their phone? They're not saying a word to each other. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why are you both on your phone right now? And yes, I get it. There's instances where people are looking something up, or they're both doing the same thing, whatever. But a lot of the time, I'm pretty sure that people are just on their phones because that's what you do. And that shit is heartbreaking because it's like, if I'm sitting across from you or next to you and I'm trying to have a conversation with you and you're on your phone, that to me is just telling me that like, and this goes for whether we're in a relationship, whether we're friends, whether we're family, whatever. If you are on your phone that whole time, that's just fucking offensive. I'm sorry, but it is. And it makes me feel like I'm not entertaining enough. You're not having a good time. And it feels like you don't want to be with me. So then why are you here? And it's not a good feeling. And it's like, can you peel yourself away from your fucking private TikTok with 50 followers so you can hang out with me for a little bit? Is that cool? Is that all right? But so I want to backtrack a little bit to where I believe my disdain for social media stems from. And I do believe that there is a start to it all. I do think that maybe social media, I got involved in it at an earlier time, but I think this period in time is when I really started to hate it. So in the mid 2010s, I started dating somebody who had a pretty decent following, and women and men were constantly lusting over this person, and I just had to get used to it. He was somewhat of a public figure, so I had to just get used to it, whatever. And it was really hard for me. I was somebody that was already a little bit insecure, and those insecurities just grew and grew with all of this. They kind of went hand in hand. I'm not going to go into it, but I had to constantly see this person liking, and this is back when Instagram would show you other people's activities. So if I liked a post, it would show, Mallory, Stephanie liked this post or whatever. So I had to constantly see that he was liking other women's photos and following other women and doing whatever. And it went from feeling like, oh, he's just randomly liking a photo to this feels darker than that. It doesn't feel like you're just liking somebody's photo. And ultimately, I found out that this person was talking to multiple women behind my back. He was planning to meet them behind my back. He was doing way more stuff that I'm not going to get into that. But he was doing a lot more than just liking women's photos. And I think that's where my relationship with social media just really changed forever and for the worst. And to me, it felt like a like was not just a like, and it never is just a like. It was a wink. It was a test. It's a I'm going to leave this door open and then you just do whatever you want with that. And I remember when that happened, I was being blamed for opening a can of worms, and that was verbatim what he said. I opened a can of worms. And I remember thinking how unbelievably hurtful that was, because what happened was that I will say, I intentionally stumbled into this web of lies. I had a feeling about something. I followed that feeling, and I found a lot of stuff out. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff I didn't find out. And being right is what ruined me, I think. Because I had this gut feeling that something was happening, that I was being lied to. But I also am somebody that has anxiety. So imagine trying to differentiate a gut feeling, which is a pit in your stomach, versus anxiety, which is a pit in your stomach. At least it is for me. Other people might feel it differently. So this is already hard enough. And then you throw into the mix, which one do I trust? Which one do I go with? Is this a gut feeling and I need to follow that? Or is this just anxiety and I need to suppress it? What happens if I suppress the gut feeling? What happens if I trust the anxiety? It's difficult, and it has made my life incredibly difficult, especially after that. So that kind of is what started my whole I fucking hate social media. Again, I use it all the time, so I understand how hypocritical it sounds. But from that, I kind of want to get into like the whole sliding of the DMs, like sliding into somebody's DMs, because flirting today is so incredibly different than it used to be. I remember going to the bars and occasionally, well, actually, okay, I'll take that back. I remember going to the bars, and a lot of the time I would get drunk men hitting on me, right? Because they would need a few beers in order to, I guess muster up the courage to talk to me. I don't know. Or to talk to any girl, I guess. But once in a while, a man would come up to me intentionally and not drunk, but I can probably count that, at least as far as my memory goes, maybe on one hand. Maybe I would need two hands. Again, I have been out and about on the scene for almost 17 years as far as like going out, right? So maybe two hands. As far as how many people have slid into my DMs, I couldn't tell you. I would have to slide back into like 2000, whatever it started. And I can tell you confidently, I don't know. The ones that I've seen, at least hundreds, for sure, hundreds. I'm sure there's way more that I've never seen. And it's like that, by the way, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here. It's like that for every girl that I know that has been single. And my whole thing with that is I don't think that there's any shame in it. However, it is easy and it's private and it's low risk. And if that person never sees it, well, it's like it never happened and you're invisible. And if that person did see it and didn't respond, whatever, no big deal. And as the person and that's the person that is doing the DMing, as the person that chooses whether or not they want to respond, I think that DMs are something that are not taken as seriously as they should be. And I think a lot of people don't see it as cheating, whether it's emotional, physical, whatever. I don't think that a lot of people see it like that because they just think, well, it's just words. Like, it doesn't matter. It's just a message from somebody I don't even know. So it's not my fault that they messaged me or whatever. And on top of all of that, it's not a text message. So it's in your Instagram that you have to open the app and then go into your DMs, and then, it's a little bit more steps to get there, and your significant other probably isn't going to see it. So social media becomes and feels like almost like this like non-real space, like kind of like similar to like a game. And when something happens in social media, in the DMs or whatever, I think people can convince themselves that it doesn't count, like quote unquote doesn't count. So like for example, in a video game, if your character is romancing another character, let's say another NPC, right? is that cheating? So if you're in Palia and you have Hassan, what's that guy's name? I can't remember that guy's name, the one that I used to romance in Palia, but I think it was like Hassian. You know what? I'm gonna look it up because that's gonna drive me nuts. Actually, it was Palia. I think it's Hassian. Yeah, Hassian, and I could be pronouncing that wrong, but I loved him first of all, and I can't believe I stopped playing that game. I was in a really good spot with Hassian. But again, it's an NPC character. There is nobody behind that character. It's literally just a video game. So, would you count that as cheating even emotionally? Probably not. Okay, now let's take it a step further. What if that person wasn't an NPC, and what if it's another player from, across the world that you don't know their name, you don't know if it's a man or a woman, you don't know anything, but there is a person attached to that. Is it cheating now? And I think you can push that boundary and push that boundary a little bit more until you get to, the real lifeness of it. And at what point is it okay? At what point does it get weird? Like, it's just, I don't know. I think it's really just fine lines and like a warped reality almost. Like, where does it end, And I think it's not even fine lines. I think maybe it's really, really fine lines or really, really blurred lines. I'm not really sure which one would be the right one there. But yeah, I think that's why it's, and I guess talking about the cheating thing kind of brings me into dating apps and feeling disposable. And I'm just going to talk about this briefly because I've talked about dating apps before. So some of this might be repetitive, but for me personally, dating apps make me feel like, again, disposable. I feel like it's exciting for about 5 minutes, 10 minutes when you first sign up for a dating app. It's so fun because you're scrolling through and everybody's hot and oh my God, maybe I will find somebody this time. And then you scroll for a little while and then you just become numb. And when I say you, I mean me. Like, this is my experience. I become numb. I become hopeless. I feel like this shit's not going to work. Why am I here? And then it just feels pathetic after a while. I'm like, this shit sucks. I'm not talking to everybody. And the ones that I do talk to are the worst. What am I doing here? Why am I spending? And it almost ends up feeling like a job. And I've said that to my parents before, where I'm like, I feel like I have to scroll for like an hour a day to figure it out. And I'm like, it just becomes something that is just so daunting and it's not exciting anymore. And I think because of how easy it is to use a social media app now, I'm sorry, not a social media app. I think because of how easy it is to use a dating app now and how you can make an entire profile in 5 minutes and you can scroll through and start talking to somebody within 5 minutes, another 5 minutes. So within 15 minutes of when you download this app to when you start talking to somebody could be 10 to 15 minutes. So I think that when it comes to dating and people working through issues and whatever else, I think that I think there's less of a fear of losing somebody because, well, I'll just download an app and I'll scroll through that app or I'll scroll through Instagram or whatever and I'll get that dopamine, I'll get that serotonin, I'll get that love from a fucking random, And yeah, it's going to be temporary, but it's better than what I'm feeling right now, which is, I don't want to do confrontation. I don't want to do the emotional work or labor that is going to take to be in this relationship. And I think a lot of people think that way. And that kind of led to, I guess, a thought of mine that I associate with dating in general is that I don't feel often like I'm irreplaceable. And not to say that I should be irreplaceable, but I guess I don't feel like somebody has chosen me and wants me. It's like, I don't know. I feel like these dating apps, especially with my last relationship from last year, it felt very like, I need woman. I want babies. I choose this woman. She's pretty. Like, that's kind of what it felt like. And something that I've told people before often is that I don't want to date somebody for the sake of, I don't know, growing old with someone just because I want somebody next to me. I don't want to date somebody just because I want to have kids someday. Are those things that I want? Absolutely. But I want to date someone that feels like a friend. I want to date somebody that feels like my person. I want to date somebody that I go, I cannot replace this person. Like, there's no way. And I also want to feel like I'm irreplaceable. I don't want to be interchangeable. That's what I'm thinking. I don't want to be interchangeable with some other person because they're also a girl and can have babies. Like, no, that's not what I want. I want love and I want like fun and I want experiences. And like, yeah, I don't know. I guess I think that's why I really crave somebody who can show me that they really want me and show me that I'm not this easily replaceable person. Hey, like, and I don't even know how they could do that. They can figure that out themselves. But I've talked about dating apps before in my experiences, so I didn't want to dive too much into that. But one other thought before that is that I was talking to a friend of mine last night, and we were talking about dating apps, and we compared them to Netflix. And on Netflix, there is an infinite amount of movies and TV shows and wonderful options on there. There is all sorts of really good stuff on there. A lot of good content, a lot of good movies on there. So when we go on Netflix and we scroll and you go, wow, I love this movie. Oh, I love that movie. Oh, this movie was really good. And before you know it, you're scrolling and you've been scrolling for an hour and a half and you go, wow, I didn't end up landing on anything and now I have nothing. Well, why didn't I pick anything? Well, because I wasn't sure. I thought maybe I could find a better movie. And that's what dating apps feels like. It feels like I might be a good movie, but they might have found a better movie 3 swipes later. Or, I like that's just what it feels like to me. And it sucks. I don't like that feeling. I don't like the feeling of, well, I think I could find something better. I want the feeling of this person's really fucking cool and I want to see where this goes because this is exciting. Not this person's cool, but what if I found somebody that's this cool and this pretty, but also has a great butt? Like, you know what I mean? It's just, what else can you add, But yeah, I think all of this leads to being unable to find a genuine connection because the second that this moment is not exciting or this person is not exciting or this whole situation, relationship is not new and shiny anymore, or this one person has one thing that you don't like about them, or, I saw him do this and it gave me the ick. People are just like, well, I'm just going to move on and find another one then. And I just don't think that that's realistic. And if that is what you want to do, that's great. But I do think that that's a surefire way to like be alone forever. And I get that because I've been there before. I've done that before. I've never done the whole, this person sucks, I'm going to move on to the next one. I've never been like that. But I mean more of like, sometimes I find myself not wanting to work on something because I'm like, why don't I just move on, But anyways, I'm going to circle back to social media because that's kind of what this whole thing was about. I like went on a rant with Mallory recently and I was like, I think I'm just going to do a whole episode on this because I think this is something that I could genuinely talk about for hours, but I'm not going to because I'm talking to myself. I think if this was a me and Mallory thing, I think we would do a really long podcast about it. But yeah, circling back to social media, I've had friends and exes that used to be just obsessed with social media, and they used their social media numbers, as in their followings, their likes, their whatever else, their views, to measure their successes. And ultimately they became just so obsessed with the amount of views and the amount of followers and whatever other analytics that can be tracked, and that it made it hard for me to relate to them anymore. Where it's like, I get it. Your TikTok about this only got 900 views and I'm sorry, but can we go back to watching Dragon Ball Z? Or can we go back to a real life problem that is me hating my fucking job? Or like, whatever we were talking about, it's like, oh, my TikTok only got 900 views. That's crazy. I'm sorry, but it's like, and here's the thing. I get it. I don't want to sound like a boomer when I talk about all this because like I get it. We live in a new world. We live in a new time and content creation brings money. And trust me when I say that I completely understand that because I've done it before. Like I used to be on Patreon and I used to make costumes and I used to take photos and I used to do photo shoots and I used to sell prints and I used to do all of that. I know that stuff brings in money. Trust me when I say I'm very aware of that. And I believe that I am nothing if not absolutely supportive in what my friends and family want to do if that brings them happiness. However, if the cost of that happiness, if the cost of that is you lecturing me about not being at your streams on time or not being at your streams long enough, or you calling me out because I'm in somebody else's Twitch stream while also being in yours. I'm not allowed to talk to other people now. That's crazy. If you make me feel like it's somehow my fault that you're not getting the views that you want, or I'm somehow getting the brunt of your frustrations and now I feel like it's my priority to fix that. What? Or if you're shifting your focus away from our friendship or relationship or whatever, because you're constantly obsessing over your view counts or your follower counts or just the opinions of people that you've literally never fucking met in your life and you're never going to meet in your life, then no, I'm not going to be supportive of that anymore. And I'm literally going to say that it's insane behavior. Like, and this is, I'm sorry, and I'm totally going to go on a rant here, and I hopefully people don't judge me for this, but at the same time, I don't give a fuck. But if you are going to rid yourself of genuine friendships, genuine connections, genuine relationships, people that actually care about you, because you are so like obsessed and hyper focused on getting more followers or getting a certain amount of views or whatever else, I'm sorry, but what kind of a life is that? Like, what kind of a life is it for you to shut your computer off or put your phone away and suddenly you have nobody anymore? Like, that has to be so lonely and so depressing to be like, okay, well, I'm done with that. So now I have nobody to talk to. That's crazy. I don't understand that. And again, I am not anti-hustle. I am very pro you fucking make that bag. Like, you make that money however you can. I think we all deserve money. However, when getting that bag costs you your ability to like connect with people or differentiate who you are when you are on social media. Maybe you have a persona. Maybe you want people to perceive you a certain way, whatever. If you have trouble differentiating who that person is versus who you really are in real life, then I think, for lack of a better term, I guess, I think that's really fucking weird, man. I think that that's crazy. I think that it's sad. And I'm sure that people that do that, I'm sure they have a great life and I'm sure that they think that they have it made or whatever. But to me, that just seems like a really sad life to neglect everybody around you. And again, I am not saying that there are not people that have it figured out. I'm not saying that like it's not possible. I think it's totally possible to have a social media following while also keeping genuine connections and having like a good balance. I definitely think it's possible. Maybe people don't have like the best grip on it, but this is for people that are completely neglecting those around them and solely focusing on social media. That is what I am talking about. And that is really fucking weird to me. And if that's how you are and you're scrolling on social media for like hours a day when you could be with your friends or when you are with your friends, or I'm going to scroll on social media for like while I'm hanging out with my friends and we're all at dinner, that's fucking weird. I think that that's crazy. And I think that you're a freak. And I don't think I'm ever going to invite you out with us again. Why are you here? Or I'm never going to invite you over to my house again, or I'm never going to hang out with you, whoever it is. Again, this goes for friendships, relationships, anybody. So that kind of brings me into the whole TikTok thing, because that was more about Instagram and TikTok, and Twitch. This next part I kind of wanted to talk about was more about like the paid influencers and the ads that make up the majority of TikTok. Because let me tell you that a few months ago, I was so close to deleting TikTok because of how many things were ads. It was like every like 4 video was an ad or a paid sponsorship. So I can't fast forward through it and it's all bullshit. Okay. And then I started seeing these like 20 to 23-year-old people that were skinfluencers, is that what they're called? And they're reviewing skincare and telling people, oh my God, my pores are invisible. And then you see older women in the comments that are like, oh my God, buying this. I was like, oh my God. Yeah, I didn't have a fucking pore when I was 21 years old either. What do you mean? And then like people discovering what powder is, by the way. I don't know if any of you ever used to use powder when you were younger or anything, but like they recently discovered that powder makes your pores go away. Yeah, that's because we were clogging the shit out of our pores and covering ourselves up with powder. But yeah, they like stumbled upon that and that was a godsend to them. But I see the older women buying into it and being like, oh my God, like I need my skin to look like this. And I'm like, hey, so that's not possible without like surgery. Like it's going to happen. I am 37 years old and I'm noticing it too. You know, it's like I'm starting to notice things happening with my skin that I'm like, whoa, where did this come from? What the hell is that? Why do I look like this? And it's just what happens when we age. And what we can do is we can change our diets, we can change our skincare a little bit, but like we're never going to have the skin of a 21-year-old or a 15-year-old or whoever these people are. And seeing the older women just like buy into that really just drives me nuts because I'm like, what are you doing? You do a little bit of research. Like it's just I feel like it's people getting taken advantage of because they just want so badly to look young. And I get it. I totally get it. I'm at that age too where I'm like, shit, I don't want to look like this, but I get it. So, and like the other thing that I see too is like the whole 20-step skincare routine where it's like, if people are like, oh, then you got to buy this. And then here's step 1 through 15. And then you have, by the time you're done, you have about 30 skincare products and you're doing an hour-long routine before bed every night. And I'm like, hey, that's crazy. It's also like, what are you doing? I really don't think that you need 20 different products. And if that you're doing it because it feels good, because I get it. I have a skincare routine that I do. I wash my face at night with this jelly. I use a pore, like a cleanser, like a pore cleanser pad thingy. And then I use serum and then I use lotion. So I get it. Do I think that it's going to make my skin look like somebody like that of a 21-year-old? Absolutely not. Does it feel good every night? And it kind of like, it takes me away from my phone and it makes me kind of relax before bed. Yes, absolutely. I'm obsessed with it. So I get that. But going into these things with the expectation of, oh, I'm going to have silky smooth skin and I'm going to look like, I'm 13 again. Yeah, it's not going to happen. And like the other thing with all of that is the paid ads and the sponsorships and the commissioned or like the creator earns commissions or whatever it is, where it's like, oh, I just tried this eyeliner and it's amazing. Let me tell you what this eyeliner does. It's just absolutely stunning. Don't walk but run. That whole thing is. Then you look at the bottom of the screen and it'll say, this creator earns commissions. And immediately I don't trust what you're saying because I think it's bullshit. And what sucks about that too is that like they could be telling the truth. It could be the best eyeliner. It could be the best blush or whatever. But I would never know because this person is making money off of it. So why would I trust them? And why would I trust that more than, let's say, if Mal recommended to me a specific lipstick, Stephanie, you need to try this. It's absolutely incredible. Like it feels like butter. Like you have to go try it. I am 100% taking a friend's word over some person on TikTok that is getting paid to do it. And that sucks. And I think a lot of people don't do their own research too. Like for me, sometimes I do get influenced by something and I'll buy one thing. So if somebody says, oh, this brand released a line of lipsticks. They're absolutely incredible. I'll go buy one and I will try it out. And if I love it, I'll buy 20 of them in every color because I love it. Especially nowadays because the turnover on products is so crazy where like once you start really loving a product, they get rid of it forever. It's the best. Bath and Body Works is infamous for that, where like they will take away a scent and then they'll never bring it back. And it'll be the best scent that they have. Like, and people are like, oh, they just rebranded. I'm like, it's never the same. I truly don't think it's ever the same. But what do I know? And then the other thing is like AI. I think AI has just gone absolutely fucking wild on TikTok and it's out of control. And so once in a while, it is really funny. But most of the time, I'm seeing AI stuff and people getting scammed into buying something, or people going, oh my God, can't believe this happened, RIP. And I'm like, what are you doing? This is literally fake. What do you mean? And it's like, what are they? I think what they're calling Gen Z like Zoomers now, because Gen Z is falling for it, and a lot of Boomers like they're falling for the same thing that like the Boomers used to fall for on Facebook, and it's so disheartening to see it. Where I'm like, and maybe Millennials are just like we're just so negative about everything, and we don't trust anything. So when it comes to AI, we're like, yeah, it's probably AI, and we're mostly right now. And it's just like, yeah, the AI thing is just like out of control too. And I don't know. It's all so frustrating. But yeah, anyways, all of that to say, in conclusion, I hate social media. No, I think at the end of the day, social media is something that has left a very gross taste in my mouth for all those reasons, for everything that I just mentioned, and probably a lot more that I'm forgetting about. But you guys know me. I have a very like precise outline and I talk about those things. Otherwise, I'll find myself going on a really random tangent. But like I said, I think Mal and I will probably talk about it at some point because I know she has a different outlook on social media. By the way, as do a lot of people. I was talking to a friend of mine last night and we were talking about social media and I was telling him about my experiences with it. And he's like, I've never experienced that before. And I was like, I think that's what's so hard about relationships and friendships is that we all experience different things, right? Where, you know, if I'm in a relationship with somebody and I'm like, hey, I actually hate when people do that or like, you know, scroll through their Instagram while they're sitting next to me or like whatever else, he might not know it's because of certain things that have happened to me in my past and it's very triggering. And then what do? Tell him all of like those things that, I don't know, like at what point do you tell somebody all of your, you know, triggers and stuff? but yeah, so I think if I was to go into more detail about specific people, like, you know, the friends and the exes and the others that really put that taste in my mouth, I think that would probably be something that I talk about in the Patreon after hours, which is something that I do want to briefly mention. And we've mentioned it on our Discord and we did talk about it on our Instagram a little bit where we're doing Patreon after hours episodes. And it's $3 a month. We try to keep it as relatively cheap as possible. $3 a month and you get access to the after hours episodes. There's only one up there right now. There's going to be another one by the time, hopefully, that this gets uploaded. And we're thinking about doing about 1 or 2 per month. Again, it's only $3 a month. And we're doing that because we do want to have some kind of a paywall on it. Because if people are going in there just to like, you know, listen to some stuff and not support us, then we want to make sure that they're at least supporting us in some kind of a way. So, but yeah, I mean, I guess I think I've reached this point in life where I am finding myself more seriously wanting more and more, I think, a life that is something where I don't want to constantly check my social media. It is a habit for me. I took Facebook off of my homepage, or I'm sorry, off my homepage, off of my like my apps or whatever on my phone. I completely removed it. I don't have Twitter on there either. The only things that I have are Instagram and TikTok. And Instagram is one that I started to go on a lot more, and I think I'm going to try to like be less on it. And it's gotten to the point where I've like muted certain things because I'm like, I can't keep doing this, you know? I think I'm more so wanting a life where I don't find myself just constantly waiting to upload photos or, you know, show people my wins and, you know, needing that validation and getting that validation from people where it's like, hey, I know that I don't have, you know, babies and I'm not married, but look at this cool thing that I did. I did buy a house though. Is that cool enough for you guys? Yeah, I don't know. I think I want a life where, you know, digital social media flirtation isn't something that's so common and so open and so accepted. And like endless swiping is not, I don't want endless swiping to be the answer to my boredom. And I want to go out and I want to get out of the house. I'm somebody that works from home. I want to go outside and I want to go out and I want to try new food. I love food. I want to try new drinks. I want to experience things and I want to experience the presence of other people and I want to see things with my own eyes. And I want to do all of these things, not through a phone. Like I don't I just want to experience all this myself. And I guess ultimately I hope that I find somebody that wants those same things, somebody who's not seeking validation through likes or comments or follows or views. And because that life is just so exhausting for both the person that is wanting that validation and for their partner. It's really exhausting. And it's like, I don't know, it's also kind of a scary thing to like think about, where it's like, if social media were to go away tomorrow, would those people that are currently relying on that serotonin, would they ever be able to actually be happy in life? Like, if that left, do you have the ability to still be happy? And yeah, I mean, it's just like, so, okay. So something that I want you guys to think about, if you've made it this far in the episode, number one, I appreciate you. You are awesome. But I want to leave you guys with something before I go ahead and end this episode, because I'm at about 45 minutes right now. And I think I'm getting close to being yapped out. I need water. But yeah, something I'm going to leave you guys with before I end this. If social media was being deleted tomorrow, there's not going to be any more Instagram. There's not going to be any more TikTok. What would you replace that time with? What would be your next hobby, or what would be your next focus, or what would you replace that time with? And I want you guys to think about that and really sit with it, because I haven't asked myself that yet. And I think I'm going to, and maybe I'll have an answer for the next episode, or maybe I'll post this on Instagram. But I really want you guys to like think about it and sit with yourself and ask yourself that. And then once you land on an answer, I want you guys to ask yourself if social media really provides more for you than what that hobby or focus or thing that you would replace it with would be. Like, does social media outweigh that thing? So let's say that you're like, oh, if I wasn't on social media so much, I think I would start learning piano again. Okay, does scrolling on social media provide you with more happiness and more skill than learning how to play the piano every day for 2 hours? And if you think that it does, why? Why do you think that doom scrolling or being on social media or getting likes or getting whatever is more validating and better for you than learning a new skill or doing something for yourself, or maybe even doing something for others? So anyways, that's going to be the episode today. I think I've yapped enough, so I appreciate you guys listening to me as always. And yeah, I will catch you on the next one. Actually, you know what? All right, I want to take a moment to send a heartfelt thanks to everyone that has donated and shown us just such incredible support. Your encouragement has been both motivating and just extremely instrumental in helping us bring this super fun dream and adventure to life. And we're just so excited and beyond excited, actually, to start the journey. So a few special thank yous to Samantha, Chiblet, Darth Silent Bob, Dave M., Jess Bagel, who has a health and wellness journal available now at colorcodedcookie.com, Katie Edward, who wrote Call on Me and is one of the few books that I've actually finished and loved and read and everything in the last year and a half, Dustin, aka Wicked Warrior. Your face and body painting skills never failed to amaze me, dude. You're doing incredible. Our beautiful friends, Gloria and Joanna, Tim, Mauricio Ormachea, Greg, Squeegee, my friend Jason Abadi. Thank you for validating my thoughts while I navigate dating men. I appreciate you always listening to me yap. My Lavender in Life, Oz, who helped keep me grounded during one of the harder times in my life. To my wonderful family, my Uncle Chris and his wife Letty, my incredible cousins, Eric and Chingona. You guys are always cheering me on. My parents, Mallory's husband, Roy, who I also consider to be my family. Your unwavering support just absolutely means the world to us. And then finally to Mallory, you listened to me talk about a dream out loud, about starting a podcast. And not only did you encourage me to take the leap, but you took it with me. And I mean, you're my best friend and I love you. And I couldn't imagine doing this with anybody else. So thank you guys again for listening, for being here, for supporting us and encouraging us. And we will catch you on the next one.